All right, Bill, go ahead and introduce yourself, please, and tell us what we're going to get into today.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Hicks. I'm the Director of Land Development Services, and we've got really a great team here with us today, including our building official, our Director over Counter Services, Steve Kendrick, Catherine Lunsford, and James Anjam. And we're all here today. I think we're going to talk about the PLUS system. This, we feel like, is going to take us huge step forward into kind of modern communication and transactions with our customers. Getting from here to there it's a big step. And so we're trying to meet with industry as often as possible. I think this is one of those opportunities for us to talk to you about what's coming and to hear your concerns. And let's talk through those this afternoon. I know Steve's got a slide deck. Is that who I'm handing this to, or is there somebody ahead of Steve?
Nope, I believe it's coming to me.
Super. I'm going to hand it right to you, Steve. Thank you very much, everybody, for having us here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I'm going to share my screen.
Let me make sure you got it. Good.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us on this presentation of the PLUS project. I'm Steve Kendrick. I am the manager of permit services, and I'm also the PLUS project owner for the building module. I've been involved with the PLUS project for it's been about 5 years or so. So I've been there since the beginning, and I think that this thing gets out there, it's a significant improvement over our current FIDO and project doc setup. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of system highlights, differences between FIDO and project docs and PLUS. We're going to give you an update on our training schedule. We're going to discuss the system outage. And then we're going to do a little demo and walkthrough of the PLUS webpage to provide your members with looks like, what's there, what's available, kind of familiarize them with what's going on and places to find information about PLUS. And then we'll open it up for questions at the end. So some of the system highlights. This is one system for all development in Fairfax County. Currently, we have 4 or 5 major systems: FIDO, project docs, PAWS, ZAPs, and about 15 to 18 shadow systems that kind of run in the background. This is taking all of that and replacing it with one system. So if you're doing something that's building related or zoning related or health related, you're going to do all of that with one login and one website with one software. What you're getting in PLUS is a seamless application process. You're going to apply, you're going to upload a plan, you're going to pay, and then you're going to track. All of that will be coming from the state. There's not going to be any back and forth between I need to see what my plan is in project docs and what my permit fee is in FIDO. Everything is in one location for you to be able to track your projects. We have a new digital plan room. The digital plan room is what's going to be a part of that process, and it is replacing project docs. So you will not have to stop an application in one software and in another software. It is all one process in one software. The digital solves some of the issues that we currently have with project docs. When, you have to upload your sheets individually. Not anymore. You can upload a single PDF. That single PDF could be 3 sheets or it could be 1,000 sheets. It's still, you're going to upload one single PDF. The current issue with naming conventions, which is, kind of how the project doc software is designed, it's very heavily reliant on your sheet being named A1 first floor framing and making sure that same exact name when you come back in for subsequent review so that the sheet's versioned properly. Digital plan works differently. It does not rely on naming convention of your sheets. It is a smart software. It looks at your sheet name and number, right hand corner of your page, and will label it appropriately. So if you have an A1, the system looks down into the bottom right hand corner of that sheet, right, that it's A1, and you're good to go. And when you have to resubmit, it again looks down in that right hand corner, recognizes that it's an A1, and versions the sheet appropriately. And at no point in time does it ever look at the actual name of your file. There's enhanced search capability across different modules. Whether you're logged into the system or not logged into the system, you can search, you can do a big general search across all modules. So if you're trying to do a search and you want to be able to see, does this address have a rezoning, a site plan, and a building permit application, you would do all of that through the general search. You would type your address in, and it would pull back all the applications that are being processed or submitted through all. Another enhancement, if you're logged into the system, you have what we call My Records, and it's a consolidated list of all of your records that you've submitted within the Plus software, broken down by module. So if I have something that's going on in the building module, zoning module, I can see that under my consolidated record list. And we're adding in some new auto issuance for certain applications. An example of that would kind of be, a new single family. I know that right now we have a lot of applications that you have to send that email. We're hoping that we built in for auto issuance will eliminate the need for you to log out email. It'll be payment based. Applications, you'll receive an email at the end that says, if you pay that fee, the system plans and issue your permit, and there's no need for contractors to reach back out to us again after they pay that fee. They'll be notified immediately that the plans are available and that the permit is ready to be downloaded. Training. So currently, right now, training things that have started. We have lunch and learns, which are more staff focused, showing bits and pieces of functionality to kind of start in that learning process. We have our Wednesdays, which are customer focused. Every business area that's in Plus has been doing some webinar days. I know for building, we did a DPOR and a BPOL presentation. I know fire has recently done either sprinkler or fire alarm demonstration. Those are ongoing. In August, our Train the Trainer program. So we've identified staff that are going to be the lead trainers when we get to our staff training September, October. So we're going to have more county staff that are available to go out and perform this training. In October, we're going to start industry. So keep an eye out in those LTIs for some of that training information to come out. And in November, we're going to try something new. We're going to do after the system launches on October 31st. We're going to do some appointment-based in-person assistance. So you would be able to sign up for an in-person appointment. You have a laptop with you. On the laptop, you should have your plans in a PDF format and house location plat if required in a PDF format. And you'll be able to sit with a technician and we will help walk you through your So again, there'll be some more information on that coming out soon. That's kind of a pilot thing that we're going to do in November. And if it goes well, we'll try to expand that out a little bit further into December and January. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that everyone gets the training that they need so they know how to use this system. System outage. I'm going to touch base on this just briefly. Plus FIDO and project docs will go offline Friday, October 21st at 4:30. And the system will be down for 10 days. It's 10 calendar days and 5 business days. The Plus system will come on Monday morning, October 31st. Right now, we are working on a continuity of operations plan to kind of look into things that we may be able to do that week. But we are asking industry to please work with us. Try to attempt to do the best you can to kind of work around this planned outage. We know that being down for 5 business days is not an ideal thing, but it's a necessary thing to get one system down and the new system up. And we have been in constant communication with Arlington County, who we know had a similar outage in June. So we're also working with them and trying to take some lessons learned from how their launch has gone.
Steve, if I could just interject here, we in my mind, this is one of the big pieces that I really want to make sure that industry picks up on, is that during this time period, the system is down. Our old systems are down and the new system's not yet up. So this will absolutely be a break in what happens. So we're, as Steve said, we're looking at trying to build a continuity of operations plan, but it will not be business as normal. And so as you're thinking about your projects and you're headed towards this time frame, there'll be a huge value in trying to, it's kind of like you go to the laundromat closes at midnight or whatever time that is. You don't get in the laundromat at 11:55 and think you're going to get your stuff done then. So really you want to be thinking about submitting early enough that those reviews are done in advance of that October 21st date. And then you can start up on the morning of October 31st, you're good to go. If you're caught in the middle and you're trying to submit something and it's going to be carried over, there will be some delay about the plans that are in flight that you've started, you're trying to get your second submission in. That may not be available to you on the 31st. It may take another 7, 14 days, whatever that is. We're trying to prioritize those, and certainly short turnaround review periods are the highest priority to see those come back up. If you're, building a huge commercial multi-story building that has a long plan review time, but if you're building out a small tenant space, those are shorter review times, and those would be a higher priority. But I want everybody to recognize that there is this time period where there's just simply the system is shut down, and you don't want to wait till the very end to start submitting. So thinking about your timelines all the way around will be really important.
This is David Merrick from the Government Affairs Committee. So what I'm hearing is you want us to encourage our members to start planning for this even before the October 21st date, and
Right.
Depending on the type of project, really consider holding it until the new system is up online. And that we could offer that this will be a more pleasant and better experience anyway if they wait, because they've got the new system. And
I think that's 100% true.
Yeah.
And certainly what we sound like we're talking about now are permits and plan review pieces. But it's also true that if you need a final inspection during that 10-day outage, that may be very hard to come by as well. We're again working on this kind of continuity of operations plan. But if you can foresee that you're going to need your final inspection during that time period, is there any way to get that done ahead of that? Might behoove you to try and tackle that.
Hey Bill, Steve Larson here. Will other inspections be still going on prior to the finals?
Yep. So honestly, we are working on a continuity of operations plan, but all of our systems are down. So anything that we do it's a patch to try and get us through, and we will not be able to push through as many inspections. It will be critical inspections that are needed, and what is critical for your particular project may not be critical as you think about 500 inspections a day that we normally conduct. I mean, I don't want to sound callous about it, but I do think this is an important piece to really plan for.
That's going to be a huge challenge because, I mean, not only are your inspectors not working because they don't have anything scheduled, but the jobs could come to a halt if they're, waiting for a inspection to go from one step to another.
Will we be able to call in for inspections at that point during that time?
So I'm going to look to Jay to see if he's got an answer for that question yet.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Thanks for the question. I think at this point right now, we are trying to figure out how we're going to be able to do these inspections. Like Bill was saying earlier, and Steve also, all of our systems are down. Project docs will go offline. So approved set of plans that inspectors on our staff will be relying on to use will not be available. So those are things we're considering. We're also considering thinking about how we can help you in keeping your construction projects moving forward and not stopping you. And still at this point, we are trying to figure out a workaround to that. But, at the worst case scenario, another thing to consider is being our systems are down, it's going to be very hard for you to, not very hard, it's not going to be possible to schedule an inspection. So it might have to be that you're just calling us and it's a first come, first serve, whatever that looks like at this point. But again, we're still trying to figure that out.
It sounds like there's going to need to be some planning on it on both sides. From the contractor standpoint, if I know I need an inspection during this period, I have it in my own interest to contact you before it becomes a problem, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I know there's, in the area that I'm in Montgomery County, so in the area I work, we usually get the same inspector. So I know who my inspector is on most of my jobs. Is it as simple as just letting me have a conversation with him and using the approved plans that are on the job? And
that's certainly an option. If you have a set of approved plans and you want to run something by an inspection, we will be available to take phone calls and respond to emails and even conduct a virtual kind of, something for us to look at. You can run it by us through a virtual meeting as well. What we won't be able to do is enter any kind of result into any system because those systems are just not available. And so I can confidently say that we will be answering phone calls, replying to emails, and be able to consult with your contractor on site as needed.
Will we be able to pre-schedule those inspections a week or two beforehand, and the inspectors will still be coming out into the field or not?
Again, so if they come out into the field, the problem is that they will not be able to result anything in our system. They'll come out and basically leave. They'll look at it and leave. There's nothing that will be entered into, these systems that are down. So until Plus comes online, and at that point, once the data is in Plus, we will then be able to do that. If you want to have an inspector come out and look at something just to make sure to consult in some way, you can certainly call the inspector, call our inspections office. If you have communication directly with the inspector, or if you want to meet with us, you can certainly use our Meet with Staff webpage, LDS, to connect with any of our inspectors as well. We can work with you on that, but actually entering in a result and, filing an inspection or completing an inspection, that unfortunately will not be able to take place.
do you have any of the old-fashioned stickers that you used to put on things and approved or failed? And then just catch up on it the next time next inspection.
That is something we're considering. At this time, I can't say that we are going to go down that route, but that certainly is something we are considering.
Simply a verbal approval to proceed, close in, insulate, whatever would
We want to help. Yeah, we want to help. We want our inspectors to be available to say, hey, look, we can't result something in our system to move your project forward, but we've looked at it and you've gotten an okay from our inspector. And this is a question that you had, our inspectors had eyes on it, and you feel confident, you have a relationship with our inspector, it's been on the job multiple times, and you can certainly move forward. But if there is an actual concealment inspection, I would, caution to say that, you should rely on that inspector to remember that, what he looked at, and then go back in when launch of Plus happens and go back and approve that inspection. I think at that point, your better option is to wait until Plus launches to call in an inspection so that the inspection actually can be really completed.
Let me offer this. Let me offer this is that I think we are still developing our plan. I think this is really good input for that. I think David captured it earlier. We all can't leave this conversation and think that during those 10 days, it's business as normal. But I think we want to do everything we can. We recognize that getting your projects built is a partnership that happens between us and you guys, and that we want to do everything we can to assist. But please know these 10 days in terms of inspection services, it's not business as normal. And we're gonna try and come as close to that as we can, but it doesn't look very close at the moment. But we're certainly, we've heard you in this conversation. We're going to continue to work our continuity of operations plans to, could it be as simple as a sticker? We'll work those things.
I think we have a responsibility too. I mean, you're being very clear about what's going to happen. And I know as a contractor, I can plan ahead. So I could reach out to you a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance and say, I know I'm going to have a close-in inspection that's important to me. Can I work out something now? But the guys that call in on the, in the middle of the period say, oh, I didn't know this was happening. Well, that's too bad.
Yep. It's a responsibility of both parties. I mean, planning is very key.
Yeah.
I might suggest maybe looking at an email documentation with that inspector to talk about things that can be closed in, just to document it so that when the system comes back online, we're not, this way we're not all shut down for basically 10 days. Anyway, just another suggestion.
Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're definitely considering that as well.
Before we move on to the next slide, I want to leave with this bit of positive note. I think Plus is going to be totally awesome. So as painful as these 10 days are going to be, I think we are leaps and bounds ahead once we get it up. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Steve. I'm sure he's got good news, but I didn't want to leave the slide and only talk about the negative.
Thanks, Bill. Actually, next, I'm going to turn it over to Rachel Martin, who is our Plus training coordinator, and she's going to show us the Plus webpage.
All right. Can everyone hear me just fine? Great. Thank you. I have not used Zoom in a while, which probably doesn't make me look very prepared as a training specialist, but let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. And now you can see it over there. Everyone good? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve, and thank you for having me today. So my name is Rachel Martin, and I am a training specialist with Fairfax County, and I've been working with the Plus project for a little over a year now. So I do support the staff as well as the customers. So it's obviously a huge project, and we have so much going on related to training. But we've had really positive responses from both our customer and our staff. I know Steve already shared with you a lot of the training activities that we're doing, and we started training the trainer. And I do think that Bill is right. I think we feel the excitement building as we're working with the staff, and they're really getting to see all of the functionality for the first time. So we are really looking forward to the launch in October. And I am here today to share with you some information that we have on our public website. So you can see this is the Fairfax County website, and we have a Plus support site embedded within it. And the idea behind this is it's really one place where customers can go to get lots of different information and resources related to Plus. So what we have right underneath that header there are some great links that'll let you jump to sections that you might be interested in. So we have how-to videos, which I'll get to in a moment. We have some user guides, some FAQs. This contact us is really fantastic way if you really prefer to talk to someone on the phone or send an email directly rather than digging through these resources. You can do that as well. There's information there for our Plus team for technical support, as well as contact information that gets you to the best customer experience for every single agency that's involved with Plus. Now, when you look at the relevant links, we have things like our webinar Wednesdays, which Steve mentioned are for customers. And we do these pretty much every single Wednesday now, and every topic is a different agency, a different focus. And a lot of these are generated from our customers. They're asking these questions, and then we do these webinars in response to try to provide the quickest and most thorough information possible. These are live sessions. You can join, you can ask your questions, and we answer them on the spot. We also record them and you can view them later. So if I scroll down a little bit, there's the general information about Plus that goes through the various releases. There's also the information here about that outage that we were talking about, the cutover period. So if you click this latest updates link here, you'll actually see right here where it says Plan Ahead Release 4. Our customers can get more information about this to the point that we have it updated right now. So right now, it's just a general message to let you be aware of the dates. You can block off your calendars. You can have your own alerts to just kind of remember that period. But if you want to stay updated on the latest information related to Plus, including our plans, you can go to just a little above where it says subscribe. This is a email list that you can join, and you'll get the updates from our team as we have them available. So that's a great way to stay in touch with the project. We have all of our webinar Wednesdays here. And then of course you can click and access the Plus portal right from this site as well. So the last thing that I would show you is the how-to videos. We actually have our own YouTube page, so you can go to this Plus Fairfax County Plus, and it opens our YouTube channel, and we have a lot of really great resources here that show you in very short clips, maybe 1 to 3 minutes, some very focused topics related to Plus. So how to create an account, how to pay fees, how to make changes on your application, how to schedule an inspection. So a lot of things that we may be getting questions about, we try to make it into a resource video and make it available here. So you can also subscribe to this channel and then get updates every time we have a new video. So I think that was the majority of what I was asked to present, but if anyone has any other specific questions related to training and what's coming moving forward, I'm happy to address those as well. Great.
So if someone logs into the system, and I'm on this web page now, how far are they going to get before the Plus system is implemented? Do people have usernames and accounts at this point, or?
So Plus actually is live right now, if I'm understanding your question correctly. So you can go into Plus because it's not just LDS and building or site who's in Plus, it's lots of different agencies as well. And even building and site do have a few records, like household appliance was launched with release 3. So there are certain things you can access in the system right now. And so you can certainly get in there and start using Plus, if I understood you correctly.
Yeah. But you can't really do anything yet, but you could.
Well, so for building related, the majority of your applications are coming in October. So correct, you're limited in what you may be able to do in Plus right now. But if some of your applications are in the system, you certainly can go in there and get started with that. But as Steve was saying, in October, there'll be some industry demos where you'll kind of get to a sneak peek at what's going to be happening with Plus and what you can expect in October when everything is in the system.
Okay, so now I'm a little bit confused. If this is here now, why can't I just go ahead and submit my application through this now rather than wait till October 31st?
Can I just step in?
Sure.
So we're big government, there's no question. And it was really complicated. And we spent a year or more, 7 years ago, trying to figure out, can we do this incrementally? Or does it have to happen in the lexicon of the IT people as a waterfall event where it all happens at once? And we honestly agonized if there could be a way to incrementally move all of our building stuff over incrementally. And we just could not figure out how to do that, because then you would be working not only in Plus, but all of those other 5 systems that you're working in now. And we just could not make a go of it. It was going to be too complicated. And so there are, I don't know, like 4 records that LDS owns that have been launched in these early releases, not the least of which is the household appliance. You can apply for a permit and you can secure an inspection associated with that. We launched that early, and we did it at release 3, I believe. And we did it because it's kind of self-contained. You know, it doesn't rely on these other permits or other bits and pieces. And it allowed us to figure out how permitting worked and how scheduling inspections works. But it was just such a small piece. All of our stuff, really the vast majority, except for unlicensed contractor records and code modifications, all of that comes at release 4. So yes, it is up, but it's mostly up for environmental health items or zoning items unrelated to building permit processes.
So if I tried to pull a building permit, I wouldn't have the fields to do it.
Not there.
Yeah, okay.
David, but you can file a variance application. We've done a couple, so.
So where it says schedule an inspection under environmental health, am I able to do that?
Probably, but those are environmental health inspections. Yeah. So if you want a building inspection, they're not going to deliver it for you.
Unless it's for household appliance.
Yeah, because I clicked building permit and it's taken me to a screen, well, a search screen. So yeah.
So Plus is also a search engine of sorts. So once everything is in the system, customers are able to search the system. So the ability to search is built in and that's there. It's just waiting for the information to come over. So as we mentioned earlier, the zoning module has most of their records in the system right now. So if you go to create an application there, you can see what is in zoning, because I believe someone mentioned the variance.
Yeah, it's very straightforward to use the system. We've done the ARB and zoning and things like that. It's worked well.
Good, that's great to hear. Yes, and I have fielded several calls about household appliance, and I think the process of paying fees and scheduling inspections and viewing attachments in your permit has been really well received as well. So it is exciting. I think we're all looking forward to October for lots of reasons.
Rachel, I sat in on your session a couple hours ago. Very informative. Is there any way to do something before October, the last week of October, as training to teach us how to go in and what boxes to check and who to put on the application, things like that for a permit? Or will we not be able to do that until literally it launches?
No, absolutely. So that kind of goes back to what Steve was discussing earlier about the industry demos. So there will be some really targeted sessions for various groups that will kind of demonstrate how you would do a lot of those different processes. And as Steve also mentioned, we did a session for household appliance. So sometimes what we try to do is identify what our heavy hitters are going to be and try to design, whether it's a webinar or a meeting or a video or a quick reference guide or maybe everything, to best support our customers and get that information as it's most relevant and urgent.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and also we will be having webinars right before the go live more frequently, and we will also be focusing pretty heavily on the digital plan room, which is a huge part of release 4. It impacts a lot of different people, all of our staff and all of our customers, of course. So we'll be doing a lot of customer facing training related to the digital plan room as well.
Can I ask a question about users? If I am a current user in the FIDO and Project Doc system, will I automatically have a user account, or will I need to create a new one to log in the first time?
So you do need to create a Plus account. And so I don't know if you saw when I just logged in, but from the homepage over here, if I log out again, there is a link right here to register for an account, and there's one here, new users register for an account. So what you could do ahead of the 4th release and all the information coming into building is potentially go ahead and create your account and get those things set up and make sure you can log in successfully and you feel comfortable with where things are located, so that when we do this transfer, you'll already be familiar with how Plus is organized and how it functions and where you go to find the information you need.
So that's something we could encourage people to do early on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if they didn't want to do it early on, they can wait. We will be sending out all the FIDO users will end up eventually getting an email with instructions on how to create their account so that all of the stuff links over from FIDO. So they will get that email right around when we go live. I don't have an actual date of when that email will go out, but it will give them detailed instructions on how to create the account so that their FIDO stuff makes it linked together with their Plus account. But don't fret if for some reason something goes wrong, to go into the back end of the software and make that connection ourselves.
Okay, I've got another very heavy question for you about best practices for user accounts. And this is something that is just coming up in our own business. I've got a Project Docs account. My architect has a Project Docs account. My daughter has a Project Docs account. So there's not any ability to pull together all of the projects that our company is working on. From a best practice standpoint, would you rather see a company have one user account that people share, or is there some way to pull different users together under one company account, or do you care? Or just, how, if we've got an opportunity to set up a new account, how do we do it right?
So in an ideal situation, I believe, a single, business account would be the way to go. But with the conversion from FIDO into Plus, if you don't do that the right way, then the projects don't link up. So our recommendation to everyone is to continue to operate with an individual account. So if you have an individual account, and I believe you said your architect and your daughter had individual accounts, the recommendation from us is to continue to operate with individual accounts.
Okay.
But there are ways that you could be contacts on the record if it's something that you all need to touch and see, that would allow you to all have that access to the record. So that's potentially something that, we could explore as that comes up for you and you're in the system and you're wanting to know more about how to do that.
As the owner of the company, I'd like to see all the permits that I've got in action in one place and not have to log into 3 different accounts. But I can see, just in the future, we start transitioning away from those individual user accounts and put it all under one. And if we can, especially if we can add contact information for multiple people, that would solve that problem a little bit. So if we got any other questions from some of our remodelers out there?
I've got a specific question about naming convention with the DPR and everything. I don't know if this is Steve or Rachel. It's great. It's finally going to be a smart system. We don't have to worry about those 50-character long file names. I'm a little confused when you say it's going to recognize the page number. You still are not going to be able to change page numbers once you've done your first submit. Is that correct? In other words, what if I want to insert several pages? I'm not going to renumber a 1, 2, 3 to 10. I'm going to keep what they were.
Yeah, so I know where you're going with this one. The expectation is that you don't have to renumber those, but say you need to insert a sheet in between your A1 and your A2, right. You would follow the standard and you would name that sheet A1.1, 1.1A, or something of that, to where it puts itself in the position that it needs to be in the expectation is not renumber your entire plans.
Okay. Understood. That's great. Thank you.
All right. This has been fantastic. Do you guys have anything else you want to share with us at this point? Because, I can tell you that on our end, I think we really need to work on what our message is to our members and how we can encourage them to be early adopters and planners for this so that they're not surprised. It's going to be a rough week, but it's only a week. So
I think the end result is going to be great. I think that I drive in on 66 every day, and the last 2 years have just been awful. But I do believe that there's going to be a great road out there. I think it's the same with Plus. I think that as you talk to your membership, if we've had some really great questions today. What do we have? 3, 4, contractors here. So as you talk to your membership, if you feel like we need to come back and have a conversation about what's going to happen, we're eager to do that. We want to make sure that we're all working through this as partners.
Also, Hellman's been great at feeding us any webinars, announcements, anything like that, and we're pushing that out. So anything that you have, send it our way, and we'll continue to get that message out. And like David said, some of them are going to miss it, but we're doing the best that we can. I think the one thing is getting that continuity and finding out what are the best, and then literally just put it in ABC. This is what we suggest. This is what's going to happen if you do this way. And then again, we've covered all of our bases and trying to help them as best as possible. But
I think we should be even a little bit more direct and not, understanding it all and why it all happens sometimes can just be confusing. We ought to tell them, get your projects in 3 weeks ahead of time or hold off. And
yeah, I think that would be great.
Otherwise you're wandering into
I'd suggest 4, David, but yes.
4. Yeah.
And be very clear. Like I heard
Yeah.
some questions. Well, can we do it this way? Well, what if we want to call? No, it is, this
Figure
is
it out before it becomes a problem.
Bill, are you guys anticipating any sort of surge of applications coming because of this, and our lead times are going to increase and grow?
So I think that's a great question, but at the end of the day, surges really happen. I mean, overall, if you looked at this in a 60-day period, what we do with Plus has no bearing on how many projects you guys have to build during that time, right?
Right.
So there may be a surge. There's also going to be this dearth during those 10 days. In 60 days, it all kind of works out the same. If there's a surge ahead of time, we just know that everybody's doing their best to be prepared for this.
But it would be better for us to have the surge when the new system opens rather than the old system. Because one of the things I heard you say is expect a 14-day delay if you submitted it early for your records to get moved. I think that's an important message. And
it is absolutely a message that we want to get out. We're still kind of working on what happens during those post weeks, but it's a matter of physics. Servers can only move documents so fast. And so there is some issue that we've got, thousands of projects now that are in project docs. And so to get those moved over to the new system, they can't move until the system's up. That doesn't happen until the 31st. And then there'll be kind of a period for that.
what are you doing during this 10 days? Are they really ripping out computers and remodeling, or?
We're just hanging out, eating bonbons.
Yeah. Why doesn't everybody go on vacation?
I think there's going to be, I think IT are going to be working twice as many hours as they normally do to try and make this happen. What are we doing as inspectors and plan reviewers? We're trying to take the things that we can download and do on hard copy or whatever that looks like during that time. Our inspectors are going to be trying to do inspections kind of this old non-automated way. We're not going to be nearly as efficient. That's why our capacity is going to go down.
Yeah, that part I think we understand. I really was asking about the IT part. Are they replacing hardware that really?
Yeah, so these are new servers that everything is going to, and so it just has to, you guys have loaded up a new computer in your office, and it takes a little while to do this. This is just way bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
I did just rebuild my computer that I'm talking on now, and it's working and you can hear me, but it took me a week to get all the passwords reset and the accounts and all that stuff. And it's a painful process.
But with that experience, we might call you in on the 21st to see if you can.
Well, I still get logged out of things, so I wouldn't do that. But I think that might help people understand it, that, during this period, it's just not possible because the machine is gone.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Maybe have a cute little graphic. Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get a news story of them hauling the old stuff out.
Super.
All right. Any other questions? I don't see anything in the chat. So.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. We'll keep the ball rolling and we'll just keep getting the message out there as much as possible.
Yes, thanks very much. Appreciate it all.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Great meeting.